Getting everybody in the room, making sure everybody's checking in. Welcome to the Herdosia, Kalambayi, Bentum, and Ticharwa Masimba victory party. Uhuru, so check in the comments section in Zoom, Facebook, and YouTube. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Make sure you like and share the video if you're watching via live stream. And we hope that you will have a wonderful time with us tonight. And we're about to get started. So if you're in the building in St. Louis, Uhuru, St. Louis, Uhuru. And of course, if you are virtual like some of us are, we are extremely excited from the comforts of our own home to celebrate these wonderful campaigns, this 2 campaigns, 1 movement celebration. We are with you, fighting with you. And again, we're so excited to be able to celebrate tonight with you guys. So I want to kick this off by just recognizing that today is a very momentous day for the African working class in St. Louis, the US, and the world. We are here to claim victory for the vanguard party of the African working class, the African People's Socialist Party. Today was the primary election for 2 members of the party, Ticharwa Masimba and Herdosia Kalambayi Bentum. What is clear just by virtue of our candidates being in these races is that their presence has marked a significant turning point in electoral politics for our party and the African nation. Our Revolutionary Party launched these campaigns in September of 2020, and it has been a relentless struggle against the status quo and representatives of the white ruling class. Our victory here in St. Louis has put reparations for African people on the agenda. It has put Black community control of schools and the police on the agenda. And truly, our victory here has put the mass line of African revolution on the agenda. Their platforms is only part of the historic significance of these candidates. One of the other things that makes these candidates even more significant is that their platforms are constructed from the revolutionary vision of our leadership, Chairman Omali Yeshitela, and the African People's Socialist Party. Our slogan for this evening is 2 candidates, 1 movement, which puts this effort squarely in the strategic and tactical domain of our party. Our party is international, and every member, supporter, and ally the world over has participated in this victory. International media, the International Media Committee, has already arranged 1 internet interview with friendly forces in occupied Azania. Some people know it as South Africa. Both Ticharwa and Kalambayi have participated in media interviews initiated from Minnesota and St. Louis, New York, and many other places. They have been featured on Facebook with St. Louis influencers, and even were guests on the Omali Taught Me show, featuring the brilliant analysis of Chairman Omali Yeshitela. Comrades, sisters, and brothers, make no mistake, the political ground in the US and the world is being shaped by these campaigns. Our campaigns in St. Louis have as a primary objective to build a social movement where hundreds of people are being exposed to a mass revolutionary ideology. The aftermath of that exposure will result in bringing more people into the party and our mass organizations. Even if some do not join us, we will have influenced them to march forward in our trajectory. That influence includes endorsements from the St. Louis Green Party, St. Louis Young Democrats, New York State Assemblyman Charles Barron, Zaki Baruti of the Universal African Peoples Organization, and many others. Today, the fight against imperialism is being partly defined by the crumbling US white power system. This definition of crisis in the US is being deeply affected by what the African People's Socialist Party is doing right here in St. Louis and around the world. I'm capping, I'm in St. Pete, but you know what I mean. The imperialists face certain defeat, and without a doubt, our international effort to drive these campaigns in St. Louis will be written in history as a major factor in the demise of this blood-sucking beast called colonial capitalism. With that being said, I want to open up this victory party with a recognition of our 2 warriors, Herdosia Kalambayi Bentum and Ticharwa Masimba. So wherever you are right now, let's give these comrades, these candidates, a courageous Uhuru, put our fists up in the air and salute these comrades, and just really appreciate and congratulate them on an incredible first half of this run. So Uhuru, comrades. Uhuru. Uhuru. All right. So I don't know if I introduced myself, but my name is Yeshitela and I am going to be your MC for this evening. I'm the director of Agitprop for the African People's Socialist Party, and the first official reparations candidate in the US, as I ran on a platform of reparations to the African community in St. Petersburg, Florida, where I'm based, under the leadership of Chairman Omali Yeshitela and the African People's Socialist Party. So we continue this legacy of challenging the status quo right in their own home through the electoral arena. So I'm going to be your MC for this night. I'm going to take you through this whole celebration. So ride with me. And I'm going to go ahead now and introduce our first culture of this evening, which is an incredible piece that was written by our very own maestra, Alikia Ngoma, with the African Nation Fight song, this victory song that really does sum up what the comrades have just done in St. Louis. So without further ado, let's bring up Comrade Alikia Ngoma to introduce the African Nation Fight song. Uhuru.
Uhuru. Uhuru, thank you, Dr. Kile, for that introduction. My name is Alikia Ngoma. I'm a member of the African People's Socialist Party and a member of the office of Chairman Omali Yeshitela. I want to give a brief overview about this song. This is the African Nation Fight song, an original song of the African People's Socialist Party that came to existence under the leadership of Chairman Omali Yeshitela, as well with a lot of the political edits of Secretary General Louisi Kinshasa of the African Socialist International. This song is the theory of African internationalism in condensed form. It reminds us that all Black people around the world are African and that we are organizing, or we must organize, to overturn this system of parasitic capitalism, to overturn the system of colonialism. In this song, we raise our African leaders, our past African leaders, Marcus Garvey, Fannie Lou Hamer, Malcolm X, Patrice Lumumba. We raise up the African Revolution of Haiti, which was won in 1804, as well as Jean-Jacques Dessalines, who presented a slogan that said "Coupe tête, boule kai," which is Creole for cut heads, burn houses. And most importantly, this song constantly reminds us that we are winning. On your screens is going to be a demo version of the song that has the lyrics and the melody, so that you can familiarize yourself with the song. And in the styles that you will hear, it goes from different African genres to show that we can work together and that we are one. So, Uhuru, thank you. like Fannie Lou and Malcolm too. We are winning. Remember our struggle, always be true. We are winning. From Harlem to Brazil to Azania. We are winning. We fight and live for a free Africa. We are winning. Long live the liberation of our African nation. Freedom through organization. Socialist world, our creation. 1 billion strong, yes, we are one. We are winning. Patrice Lumumba's life won't be in vain. We are winning. Keep up the work in Marcus Garvey's name. We are winning. Independent and free is what we will be. We are winning. Africa will bask in our victory. We are winning. Long live the liberation of our African nation. Freedom through organization. Socialist world, our creation. 1 billion strong, yes, we are one. We are
Uhuru, Uhuru, we are all everywhere we are, giving Comrade Alikia the biggest round of applause for that incredible African Nation fight song. Thank you so much. And if that doesn't kick off this event, well, giving us the fighting spirit, I don't know what does. The African Nation fight song, like I said, just really embodies the kind of fight that the people were engaged in Northside St. Louis, waging these incredible campaigns. And the people who can talk about it better than I can are the people that are there on the ground, and specifically those who have, had the honor to manage these campaigns. So I want to go ahead and introduce, some of the most badass campaign managers you will find on this planet. Comrade Chimaranga Silambao, who is the campaign manager for Comrade Herdosia Kalambayi Bentum, and Comrade Nzei Masimba, who is the campaign manager, wifeager of Comrade Ticharwa Masimba. Uhuru comrades, welcome. And, Uhuru salutes you all. So let's bring these two up now. Uhuru.
Uhuru, this has been an adventure, to say the least. Chimaranga, you there? You ready?
We don't see Chimaranga.
I don't see Chimaranga.
I thought I saw him walking to the stage.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, I see him on the stage. For
Cameras.
those who are operating podium, you got to turn his mic on,
And you gotta
then you
turn
got to
it on.
flip the camera so we can see him straight. Can y'all hear me up there? It's in St. Louis. Y'all in St. Louis, y'all gotta adjust. All right, well, while we work this out, and Zay, you want to go ahead and do we want to try to kick us off with this report and try to get them set? Okay.
Girl, yeah. Oh, look, he's turning slowly. But yeah, this has been so exciting. It's been definitely a learning experience, instilling in me you know, what it means to put the party line out in a mass way. Like Chairman is so brilliant, and just the way that we learn about politics in the party and how, political campaigns work. And then he say, now go get in a political campaign. So it has definitely been a learning experience. But I see Chimaranga now, and we do have a slideshow. So if IT can put up that slideshow for us. Her, and it's two candidates, one movement, the status quo must go. All right. And if Shim has audio, he's going to start us off. It's not looking like it. All right. Well, two candidates, one movement, the status quo must go. So this is the Victory Party. Welcome for Herdosia Kalambayi Bentum, running for Alderwoman in Ward 3. Under the slogan Revolutionary Times, Revolutionary Solutions, and Ticharwa Masimba, running for Alderman in Ward 21 under the slogan Black is Back. Next slide. So two campaign managers, and the first one is Chimaranga Kalambayi, who I learned so much from throughout this process. It's just like he's a wealth of knowledge with these political campaigns. And he was is the campaign manager for the committee to elect Herdosia Kalambayi Bentum for Ward 3 Alderperson. Next slide. And then there's myself, really new to the game. It's Chimaranga has a lot of knowledge, and I'm just like learning along the way, and just really relying on the party and the line to kind of guide it. And I am Nze Masimba, the campaign manager for the committee to elect the church.
Yeah. Now it's not.
And we cannot have this presentation without the dream team. Next slide. We have them here. Two campaigns, one movement, Ticharwa Masimba, candidate for Ward 21 Alderperson, and Herdosia Kalambayi Bentum, candidate for Ward 3 Alderperson, both first time running, and did a magnificent job. Next slide. So, we wanted to just jump in, hit the ground running, but it was like, wait, here are some things that we had to learn, and we had to learn them really, really quickly and jump through a lot of hoops, a lot of gray area in politics is what I'm learning. Like this rule applies sometimes, not always, but we had to learn how to file. We had to see which documents were needed and where to go to get the information we needed and where to file this information. And then the committee, we had to build a committee, so the campaign manager, the steering committee, the project director, treasurer, outreach coordinator, media, social media, phone banking teams, fundraising team, all very, very crucial to the execution of this campaign. But even more than that, the party, we had this mass campaign meeting, this party movement wide campaign meeting, and the party came through, like the movement came through, unlike any way that we had seen throughout the campaign. We saw such a trajectory in fundraising, social media, and everything because of the work that the movement did to contribute. So I want to appreciate that. And then we had to decide on a platform. The candidates had to declare why they were running. Tell the people, why are you running? And what are the real issues, not those fake ones, like, oh, we need speed bumps. And then the budget. So how much money is needed? How much do we need to raise? And will people support support our platforms and our plans. And then, of course, organization. I mentioned that before, but we don't take that lightly at all. The African People's Socialist Party and the Uhuru movement backed us the entire way. There were many times that I would look at Ticharwa and say, I don't know how we would do this without the movement, like just that support and that knowledge base and that just the resources, everything. The Uhuru movement is amazing. Next slide. Chimaranga, are you able to do audio yet? I think I heard you. All right, well, just leave me by myself here. Okay, so we were campaigning during the coronavirus. So this is different, but we had to continue campaigning. And we did that. It's the imperialist imposed.
Can you hear Chimaranga? Can you hear Chimaranga?
I can hear him now. Yes.
Uhuru, they can't hear you.
It's a delay. There's a delay.
Go ahead. They can hear you now.
All right, so while we get that, but I just want to do this one. So we did campaign during the coronavirus, and it's the imperialist imposed coronavirus pandemic presented various challenges to community organizing, especially regarding the electoral arena. This presented a special set of difficulties for these first-time candidates, the workers and the youth who set their sights on political office to assist in changing the conditions of gentrification and poverty in our communities everywhere. But despite these challenges, the candidates took to this responsibility, and we organized and we figured out, okay, so maybe, there was a time when we were on lockdown during this whole campaign part, and, we weren't supposed to be outside. We weren't supposed to be campaigning at all. So what do we do? How do we reach the people? We had to figure that out. We had to continue campaigning. Next slide.
Put out a really great post that we put up all of this stuff.
We're replacing the ground game, so we had to be creative. We always say door to door wins the war, but what happens when you can't go door to door? What happens when nobody's answering the door because they're fearful of coronavirus, and a lot of people, especially a lot of older people, they're not answering the doors right now. So what do we do? How do we reach them? And we looked into different ways to do that. Next slide. So we had to switch to online outreach. This was something new, I can't say that any of us are like social media experts, but we had to figure it out. So we had to build that social media team that we talked about earlier and really, really define what that looks like and put goals, quantitative goals and timelines and calendars, posting calendars and things like that. And again, involve the movement, so some of you were a part of the movement-wide social media team. So you would get an email from me that would say, hey, go to this post and like this post, share this post, comment. So the movement was a big part of that. And we used Facebook, Instagram, and Nextdoor sites for social media. And then our websites, we had to make our websites interactive, and we had to make sure our websites were all, were up to date. And when constantly when posting on social media, we had to mention our websites, because we know sometimes Facebook and Instagram and Nextdoor, they'd be able to block us if they wanted to. So we had to make sure if people wanted to find us and find the campaigns, they knew where to go, and they, would be able to find us on our websites. And then create content constantly, like meaningful content. We made sure that We made updates about things that were happening in the community. When we also had Sunday rallies, and during these Sunday rallies, we talked about issues that were prevalent in the community, such as school closings and things like that. And then the voter database. It was okay. I mean, it was like leads, it was like a database that was provided to the Democratic Party. However, we found that about 67 to 70% of the contacts were bad contacts. So, we have this list of every voter in the ward, and then, we think this is great, and we start calling, and none of the numbers work. So that was definitely, a contradiction, but we had to figure out how to make that list work for us. Next slide. And then from the field to the phone. So call the people, damn it. So we were knocking doors and in-person fundraising events, that's how campaigning used to look. But during coronavirus, that looks like calling people constantly, every day phone banking, every day tracking those yes votes, every day tracking who says I'm undecided, maybe give me a call back later, making sure that someone says, oh, email me that we're doing that. It really changed the game. Next slide. Really want to thank our volunteers. When I started, I said about how this campaign helped me to express the party's line in a mass way. And it really did. It brought in family and friends and people that would not have, I said today, I said, these same people who we invite to Sunday rallies and events all the time, they're like, they don't even text back when you write them. But when we asked them to work the polls today, we got such an outpouring of people who was like, yeah, I could do it, I could do it. That it was great. We had people at every polling place, just because this is something that they felt that they could relate to in a mass way. And but through that, these campaigns have changed the game. Reparations is something that people in St. Louis, in North St. Louis, they're saying regularly now. They know what that means. That when we first started campaigning, we go knock on somebody's door, we talk about reparations, and they say, well, what about the horizontal violence? What about the Black on Black crime? Or what about the gardens? And they wouldn't even entertain reparations. And now, today, we're at the polling place, and people are like, yeah, I want reparations, So it really, really changed the game, these campaigns. Next slide. So here are some of our victories, just a brief summation of them. These are combined totals for both campaigns. Next slide. So 32,500 mailers. We did something called every door direct mailer. So every door in the ward received a mailing in both wards through the post office. They initiated that service for us. So it's amazing. So if they were voters or if they weren't, they heard about the campaigns. Next slide. 6,000 drops of propaganda. That field outreach was led by Timba, who did an amazing job with that. Next slide. 8,000 phone banking calls. Next slide. 8,000 robocalls. We, yesterday, I think Ticharwa called somebody. It was just there the day before, and they said he was talking to them. They said, "Yeah, and I got your text too. Like, okay, I'm getting your text, I'm getting your phone calls, I'm getting everything. Like, okay." So 8,000 robocalls. Next slide. 10,000 text messages. Those group text messages were priceless. It really, those people who don't answer their phone, they still had to see it. Next slide. And then Black St. Louis Speaks. That is, that's a game changer right there. So Impedum sponsored this paper, and it featured both candidates. And it went out twice. It went out at the beginning of the campaign, and also, at the beginning of the campaign, it featured the Black Card Blueprint. And then it went out again about a week ago, and it featured both candidates. Next slide. We had 135 amazing volunteers. Next slide. More than 400 donors. Next slide. And for all of that, we want to say thank you. Next slide. So we had briefings regularly, like 3 times a week, 4 times a week, 5 times a week, 7 times a week. We had a lot of briefings, but usually it was 3 times a week. And our briefing team consisted of the candidates, the campaign managers, our chairman, Omali Yeshitela, just the genius that he brings to everything. He had an idea about the way that we should do our phone banking script, something I never thought of before. And it really did a great job of getting the line, the platform out while engaging the person. So they had to listen to the script because we were going to ask them questions. So it made them listen, and they remembered the platform. Next slide. Also, Deputy Chair on the Yeshitela, just the level of organization that she brought, to this whole process during this up until this primary election has, it's been invaluable. The whole idea of, the fundraising piece of it, and how we, that she brought to that after that campaign-wide meeting, just leading that in the way that she did, and just helping out in anything, anything that we need for the campaign. Next slide. And then we have Kabula. Kabula is the project director. He is on those briefings, taking minutes, action items, following up. So we really want to appreciate Kabula as well, and the occasional phone banker. Next slide. And then we have Timba. Timba, as I stated before, he leads the field outreach for both campaigns, Ward 3 and Ward 21. So that's about 10,000 houses combined in each, and combined together for both wards. And Simba has dropped literature at every single house in those wards, and then went back again to drop the broadsheet. So the Black St. Louis Speaks. So want to appreciate Timba. Next slide. So the status quo must go. We need power in our own hands, and that has driven this campaign. Next slide. So if Chimaranga was able to speak, I'm sure that he would thank everybody for listening. He would appreciate all of the work and dedication that was put in by the candidates, all of the volunteers, all of the donors. We both really want to appreciate everybody, and we are winning. Uhuru.
Uhuru.
All right, Uhuru, thank you so much to Comrade Nze, who was one part of the duo, the dynamic duo campaign manager team. So I just really want to salute again those comrades, and hopefully we will be able to hear something from Comrade Chimaranga tonight. I know they're trying to get the AV situation resolved in St. Louis. So hopefully we do get to hear from Comrade Chimaranga. But we are now going to hear from the candidates themselves. We saw a sneak preview of Comrade Ticharwa, but we're going to be able to hear from the candidates, challenging them again right in their own arena, bringing the question of reparations, economic development, anti-gentrification, Black community control of our own schools, of the police, power in our own hands, and did so fearlessly. These comrades are incredible and inspirational. And of course, we want to salute you everywhere we are located. This whole movement, the African nation is behind these comrades. These are our alderpersons in St. Louis and beyond. So we'll go ahead and I see Comrade Kalambayi as well, Herdosia Kalambayi, Bentum, and Ticharwa. So Kalambayi, let me just test your audio, make sure I can hear you all right.
Uhuru.
Uhuru, gotcha. All right, the floor is y'all's, comrades.
Uhuru. Yeah, so I'll go. And I just want to say, my name is Ticharwa Masimba, and with your help, I will be your next alderman of St. Louis's 21st Ward. And I also want to be clear, with your help, we will build this movement to revitalize the culture and economy of Black St. Louis. With your help, we will put and keep revolutionary times, revolutionary solutions back on the agenda. So just thank you. You know, this has been a dynamic process. And no matter what happens at the polls today, we know starting out that we had two goals. And the first goal was to build a movement to bring Black people back into political life and all of our allies and freedom loving people everywhere back into political life, put a Black Power agenda back on, Black Power platform back on the agenda, and complete this revolution that we lost in the 1960s. And we see a dynamic qualitative leap in our ability to do that. We see it tangibly. So this has been an incredible, incredible, incredible campaign. And I just turn it over also to my dear comrade who ran a fierce, incredible campaign. So I guess we can kind of just go back and forth off each other, but this has been incredible. I look forward to saying more.
Uhuru.
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 Black is back.
Black is
Black is
back.
Black
back.
is back.
Black is back.
Yeah. I just really want to express my
All right, go ahead.
I'm sorry. We gonna do this. This is probably how the status quo fight us, but we keep fighting back. You know, we're gonna have this event no matter what. So I just really want to start off by expressing my deepest appreciation to Chairman Omali Yeshitela, because this campaign would not even be possible if he didn't, you know, as a young person say, I can't take this. And regardless of what happened in the 60s and how many people they killed and put in jail, he continued to like hammer away with what exactly do African people need to get free. So I just really want to say my deepest appreciations to Chairman Omali Yeshitela. And I know we say this a lot, but I mean it's from the bottom of my heart. In so many ways, you saved my life. I could not understand why African people were faced with so much horrible conditions. I couldn't understand why an amazing mom and amazing dad would still lose two sons, and everything that had happened to me in my life and everywhere I had looked in Black people's life. And that day of August 9th, when Chairman Omali Yeshitela got on the plane and came to Ferguson, the game changed then. We were ready for running for office because of all of the concrete work and all the political studies, and every morning that you got up and stood and taught the theory, you know, we prepared us for this day. So I just really want to salute Chairman for that. And I also want to appreciate Deputy Chair Onizane Yeshitela, because my leadership changed and transformed once she came on the grounds in St. Louis. All of ours did. You know, she came just, you know, to, you know, buy some property and then, you know, lay out a, you know, supposed to go back to St. Pete and then lay out a plan, but no. Deputy Chair came to St. Louis, became a resident of St. Louis, learned the grounds of St. Louis, learned the terrain of St. Louis, seen the conditions that African people were faced with the political report in her hand, and she went. And not only she breathed life in each and every single person that was willing to sit and learn. You know, I got a chance to see exactly what economic development looked like. So I can never be tricked to think that Black people can't build economic development in our own hands, because I actually participated with the Black Power Blueprint, and amazing work. I also want to salute my campaign manager, Chimaranga. You can't even say enough about Chimaranga. He's so humble. I don't care how I flip out, Chimaranga is always calm and say, kid, we got this. And then he'll call me back in a few minutes and say, "Are you all right, kid?" And I'm flattered to be called a kid. So, so thank you, Chimaranga. I really appreciate, your willingness and, how you just always hammering the theory. And I mean, in this campaign, it was this one moment with Chimaranga. Like, it was a whole bunch of moments with Chimaranga, but I really realized how Chimaranga have a disdain for the petty bourgeoisie.
Oh, boy.
I had a meeting with the petty bourgeoisie, and I was a little impressed. They talk real good and dress nice, and they sound smart. Chimaranga was not impressed at all. Not a little bit. I'm like, well, Chimaranga, but she made this point. He was like, that's the petty bourgeoisie. You know what I'm saying? And he just really, really has a love for his people. He has a profound love for his people. No matter what knee hurt or whatever hurt, he's still constantly fighting and constantly get up. And I'm thinking to myself, like, how can I make any excuse to not do anything when he's willing to do whatever it takes for, to make this happen. So I just really appreciate such an amazing campaign manager that I think that was just perfect. And I also want to appreciate Comrade Malika that started off in the beginning. And I really, really appreciate all her willingness and, all the things that she did. And even as transitioning to a different position with the campaign, she still fought hard. And she, even this morning, text me and say, "You got this. You were made for this. Chairman know exactly what he's doing. Kalambayi, you got this." And I just really want to appreciate her as well. And see, this is why you shouldn't start appreciating people. You don't forget somebody. But I also want to appreciate Nzei, that was Ticharwa's campaign manager, but Chimaranga and Nzei was our campaign manager. Nzei over every document. She looks at it. She's our lawyer. She's our finance person. She's everything. And a private investigator, whatever Nzei have. And I heard she might could get in the ring too. You know what I'm saying? She get in the bush with you as well. So I just really want to salute and appreciate Nzei and just every single person that came on those meetings every Sunday. My auntie Mayretha, and Jordan Fly, my best friend. My sister Tiffany, I told her to come and sit right here by me. My mom, I just really want to appreciate everybody from the African People's Socialist Party, because we were able to create a whole new space. And I'm a visual person. I learn from doing stuff. Like, I don't learn just reading something, but actually doing it make me learn. I learned so much in this process. And again, has installed confidence in the African working class. I asked my sister to sit here with me because in so many ways, this journey is real, real personal. When I met Chairman, and me and my sister was talking, and I was, I don't got some punches by the status quo. We all have, and I know that they were punching me, but they punching us. They punching people that look like us. That's what they do. And I was talking to Tiffany, and she said, "You know what? African Internationalists changed the world." And I'm so happy you met the movement, because now everything about me is different. How I conduct myself at work, how I carry myself, and everything has changed from now having this theory. And so what we have been able to do is take this theory and put it in mass form, in a campaign form, and use this platform and salt the earth, not only in St. Louis, but across the world, wherever. In South Africa, I did an interview. Just everywhere we have been, people can hear real, genuine Black power. Black power has been put back on the agenda. And I just really salute and appreciate Director Akile for being the first reparation candidate in St. Petersburg, Florida. Akile is younger than me, but I want to be just like you. And I just really appreciate your stance all the time, your stance, and just being able to be an example to me and Ticharwa in learning how to answer questions in 3 minutes, which I probably failed at it right now. But you know, I just really want to say that this would never ever been possible. And the most important ingredient to everything that we doing, every word that come out of our mouths, no matter if it's Ticharwa with a deep understanding with some numbers associated with it, or if it's me, Charismatic, with a personal story attached to it where you can see it in how it looks in everybody's life. But the most important thing is what me and Ticharwa is speaking is the theory of African nationalism. That is the theory that is going to liberate our people. So I just am so excited.
Yeah.
You know, that a girl from Walnut Park that had been told so many times that she is slow or got some disability, that is a lie. And we proved it on today. And a boy from the 21st Ward that said that I don't want to be a product of my environment, but I got to go back to that environment and change it, and kept looking for answers. Ticharwa Masimba, amazing. I mean, the 21st Ward would be crazy not to elect this man. No matter what happens, we're going to be making a difference in the 21st Ward, the 3rd Ward, the 5th Ward, the 11th Ward, South Africa, everywhere, because we're going to win this thing. African people will be free. And I appreciate you all and everybody in this room.
Yeah, Uhuru. Yeah, I just wonder if I can add to that to say I was looking at a Burning Spear newspaper. Actually, it was in the days of Jomo. The organization started by Chairman Omali Yeshitela before the African People's Socialist Party. And I think this was from 1968. And I saw a platform in that Burning Spear newspaper that was almost identical in so many ways to the platforms that we ran on in this campaign. And this was 1968, you know, and part of, even with these platforms, the party didn't just give us these platforms, they gave us the theory of African internationalism. We were on the ground here, we translated that into actual platforms, and it resulted in being identical to something a party had produced as far back as 1968. And I just thought that was so profound. That is what the African People's Socialist Party Chairman Omali Yeshitela brought to this process. That's profound. We have organization. And what that means beyond the fact that we just have help on the ground, what that means is that we can take the people somewhere, that we don't have an empty politic, and we are not willing and able to sell the people out. We are pushing an agenda to forward the revolution of Black people all over the planet. And so what you see in these campaigns, when we say reparations, when we say that every problem we face in North St. Louis, which is also true of South Africa, every problem we face is a consequence of our resources being looted every single day. And we were able to translate that for people and say that the reason that's closing 7 schools, 7 majority Black schools in North St. Louis, your schools, Sumner High School that you went to, Beaumont High School that you went to, the reason they're closing the schools is because greedy real estate speculators, corporations loot our tax dollars every day. And they do it with the help of people who look like us. You know, so this is African internationalism translated in the everyday language of people on the ground. And that's something that we had to develop through a process of we had to develop through a process of actual practice on the ground. So this has been an incredible, incredible movement. And I'm like my comrade, we have so many people who made this a lot of times. So I can't start naming people that teams, you know, every day, working, and we didn't see them. And everything she said about Zay, my campaign manager and wife, I cannot say enough. Incredible. And then my leadership, Deputy Chair Onazane Yeshitela, profound leader who is leading the international economic work of the entire party all over the world. and was on phone calls with us, 7 a.m., 3 times a week, and more than that, pushing this, pushing, fighting for every inch so that we can win. And we have taken space. We see a qualitative leap in the space that we have taken right here on the ground. We see it in some of the endorsements from the Green Party, for example. And I just want to give so much credit and respect to Angelica Mueller-Rowie for all of the work that she put in, and let her know that we didn't say it enough, but we unite with your platform of the Green Party to say that Monsanto and these other corporations that poison our food, poison our water, poison our ground, we absolutely will do everything we can to make sure that we put them out of business. So Assemblyman Charles Barron, the Black is Back Coalition, Uhuru Solidarity Movement in the neighborhood, these are the people who made our campaign what it is. So, fear that I left some very critical stuff out. I just want to say that we have already won. We have already taken space. The Uhuru movement is on the scene in a different kind of way. And we have forced the African petty bourgeoisie to no longer be able to isolate us. The Uhuru comrades, we have won.
Revolutionary times.
Revolutionary solution.
Revolutionary times.
Revolutionary solution.
I remember we was in a meeting and chairman said, revolutionary times, revolutionary solution. I was like, yeah, that's the slogan right there. That's it. But I remember a time where I was afraid and I didn't understand revolution. And I remember coming to the conclusion, revolution. I remember they when I met the party, I went to DC and it was peace through revolution. Peace through revolution. And it hit me that we can't have peace until we have revolution. Like we have to have a radical change. The community we have to be willing to fight and unapologetic about it, because it was a fight my whole life. No, but it was one-sided. We were just getting punched and not punching back. But what we have learned to do is literally how to fight back. And through this campaign, that's what we have armed the community with. So at the polls today, it was just so amazing. So many different amazing stories that I can tell you about the people talking back to us. And we can hear ourselves now with the people talking back to us. And they would say, this man said, they don't knock our doors. Only time they want to knock a door is when it's time for election. They barely do that. I'm voting for you because you knocked on my door. And we know door to door wins the war, and all the way down to the end, Chairman calling like coach, like phone bank, call the people. So today I said, okay, I asked my campaign manager, give me a list so I can phone bank as I was at the polls. I called this African man on the phone. And he said, say your name again. I said, Kalambayi Herdosia Bentum. He said, I voted for you today. He said, I voted for you today. He said, and I voted for you because we need change.
Yes.
And I just really appreciate what Ticharwa was saying, because, when you don't have theory, you will fall for anything that anybody tell you. And we watch the news, and in St. Louis have been like number 1 and number 2 for murder capital for a very long time. And so the news will scare you into a frenzy and have you, like the person that I'm running against, ask for the National Guards to come into your own community. That sounds crazy to me and you. And we know it's a problem with that. The people know it's a problem with that, but they'll have you asking for police to police you. And the police ain't never solved no crime. They ain't never brought your TV back. They ain't never did anything. So I'm so appreciative to the theory, because the theory teaches us that we understand that everything is concentrated economics, and we understand that poverty is poverty happens because they bleed our community. And anytime you have poverty, you have crime. You know what I'm saying? So then if you understand the core of the crime, then you understand exactly what to go get and what you have to do. So me and Ticharwa as leaders understand that we're not going to be talking about giving the police more money. or even trying to build a relationship, because we know that the police used to be one slave catchers. And we only can understand that is because we understand the theory of African internationalism. This is why the community need to be armed with this. So then when you have a politician that's going to let a billionaire come into your community for spy planes, then you know that he's a traitor. You know that that's somebody, I don't care how he wear black Uganda, or, you know, say red, black, and green sometimes, and say Black Lives Matter with that empty slogan, you'll understand that that's a traitor, because you can't have it both ways. You can't say the police are bad and kill Mike Browns of the world and then ask for them to come in your community. You can't have it both ways. So I really appreciate that, because I once was confused, because I was hurt. I lost my brothers. But I also have been a family that have understood that somebody in my family have took another person's life. I don't sit on both sides of on the corner of this thing, and understand that all of it comes from a community that is colonized, a community with no power. And so that's why this campaign is so important. It's so important that the people is armed with this, so they can never be bamboozled. They would never have these sellout politicians getting in front of them, having you beg for police that ain't never did nothing for you in your life. In St. Louis, we got a prosecutor attorney, Kim Gardner, that said that the whole police, the police academy, she can't take nothing off her desk. You know what I'm saying? But then we have politicians that have police drills in our community. So these campaigns was important. And we made these forces work for the first time in their life. They ain't never campaigned this hard before in their life. I mean, one time, the person that Ticharwa run against said, I don't knock doors, real arrogant. I'm talking about this dude so humble, he was praying on Facebook today. Okay, he had to say a prayer to Allah. He had to pray to Allah today, because he had to humble himself, because he you know what I'm saying, he had to work, and he had to say who he was, and he was confused. I think he might have to go see a therapist to find out who the hell he is. Because he don't know who he is. He thought he was black, but you know, now he know he's a sellout, because we taught him who he was. So that's important. You know, they don't get to look in the mirror and be confused. I want you to know exactly who you are. Sell out, sell out. You know what I'm saying?
Bullet, bullet.
Bullet, bullet.
Yeah, Uhuru, comrades. We are winning.
Uhuru. Well, I know we're all, again, everywhere we are, we're all shouting Uhuru with you, comrades. And I just want to appreciate those amazing, you know, kind of like highlight reels and presentations regarding, you know, these incredible campaigns. Again, we salute you both, and you guys are both just incredible inspirations and leaders for the entire African nation and everything that you've done. And, you know, like you said, I mean, the ground has forever changed in St. Louis and throughout the world, where African people are, you know, getting behind these campaigns because of what it represents for all of us, what these platforms represent for all of us, and what, you know, shaking you know, the colonial foundations in St. Louis, what that means for all of African people everywhere. You know, it's incredible. And we feel it. We all feel it. So just want to again salute you all. So it's my honor now to introduce he's been called a lot of things tonight, the coach, you know, the strategist, the brilliant theoretician, the author of African internationalism, our leader, the founder of the Uhuru movement, the African People's Socialist Party, the tireless leadership. We want to salute and welcome Comrade Chairman Omali Yeshitela, Uhuru Chairman.
Uhuru, comrade. I really have a difficult time increasingly because at one point, I was the person who was running around talking about African internationalism and explaining this and explaining that to everybody. And now I come into a meeting where everybody's explaining African internationalism, leaving me with very little to say. And I do want to commend everybody. I want to commend these candidates, extraordinary African people, extraordinary African leaders. And I want to commend the teams who have pulled together as part of this this campaign organization. Certainly, I'm including Chimarenga Kalambayi and Nzei Masimba in that, but all of the other comrades. And the thing is that what we've done is unleash the genius of the African working class, who've been so subdued and beaten down for such a long period of time, and who have in many instances been convinced that we cannot do anything, and that those people who have been put in charge of us by our slave masters are the ones who know better, and they're smarter than us, and therefore we should never contend with them. And what's happening is that this process that we've been engaged in is something that has liberated the African population in St. Louis, and it's a part of the process of liberating African people throughout the world. Let me just say that to try and place some perspective and what it is that we are doing in St. Louis, what you comrades are doing in St. Louis, and everybody in that audience there at the Uhuru House, I salute you. I salute you partially because you helped to make that Uhuru House happen there in what was supposed to be a forgotten landscape where nobody was supposed to ever reproduce anything as a consequence of that Uhuru House being there, as a consequence of that event space being next door to it. Now you see all of the petty bourgeoisie, all the sellouts and everybody who are coming over there. Now they're talking about let's have these business in a black Wall Street and a black this and that. Before, the only thing they could say was send the National Guards, more cops, etc. But we've opened the door for that. I think it's really important, and I'm talking about obviously comrades Ticharwa and comrades Kalambayi and all the people who participate in that process. Some of them are not even in the state that where you're located. But I want to just say that to try to contribute a little perspective to this is because African people were seen at a time in history, particularly in the 1960s, when all oppressed peoples around the world were rising up, trying to be free from white power. Because white power was strangling us, choking the whole world. It was taking all the resources of the people. People have tried to come up with explanations. Why is it that every place we look, we see people who look like us in the whole world living under misery, living under violence, imposed ignorance, and all of this? Why in the hell is that true of us? Then we look at where white people are, and we see that there's a completely different situation for them. And the explanation we've always got is because they're smarter than we are, they're more civilized than we are, they are thrifty and don't waste their money like we do, etc. And for a long time, we've had to live under that burden. And then we saw this incredible movement of our people rise up, especially in the 1960s. And not just African, but people all around the world. In Iran, you see the US government threaten Iran today? In Iran, in Afghanistan, in Nicaragua, in Venezuela, in all over Africa, you see people who were rising up even then. And then the United States government was engaged in this incredible war against people who just wanted to be free. Nobody was trying to steal anything from Uncle Sam. Nobody was trying to steal anything from white people or white power. All we ever wanted was to be free, to have access to our own happiness, to have access to the resources that have been stolen from us to build this empire of whiteness around the world. That's what the struggle was for. And the thing, because you have a system, we live in a system, not just here, but around the world, a system that is dominated by white power that's like a parasite that sucks the blood and resources and must do that as a condition for its existence. Because we were rising up, the government here and their forces around the world began killing people, mass arrest of people who were just trying to be free. That's all. Malcolm X ain't never shot at nobody. They murdered Malcolm. Martin Luther King was saying, turn the other cheek. They murdered King. They didn't care if you were a Christian. They killed Christians like Martin Luther King, and they killed Muslims like Malcolm X. They killed people who weren't particularly religious, like the Black Panther Party and other revolutionary forces. They killed Che Guevara. They killed Patrice Lumumba in Congo. They were killing us all because they wanted to keep the situation existing where there were slave masters on top of the rest of us around the world. And this is what happened. And so when you look around the world to maintain this situation, they put drugs in our community. Yes, the United States government flooded our community with dope, with drugs. They killed people like Fred Hampton and others who were organizing in our community among the working class. In order to solve these horrible problems and to organize and bring them into political life, they killed him. And then, and who was dealing with the drug? They killed people like Lawrence, like Lawrence Mann, who was a co-founder of the African People's Source. They put me in jail on a regular basis. We are dealing with this question. I came out in 1966 and said by the end of the year, by the end of the year, all the drug pushers are going to have to be out of the city of St. Petersburg, or we'll get rid of them ourselves. And the government put me in jail. They brought me before a grand jury because they didn't want this to happen. And so we saw this process. Malcolm X had a program. The Black Panther Party had a program. Comrade Ticharwa was telling about the program of Jomo in the 1960s, et cetera. We all had programs. And then what happened, of course, is that this government that didn't ever think that we would be able to participate in the electoral process, they saw the threat that we represented with these programs that call for reparations, these programs that call for Black freedom, these programs that said, get the police out of our communities, these programs that talked about trying to build up our communities. They killed these revolutionary leaders and they destroyed the organizations. And after they did that, they raised up a sector in our own community and put them in charge. And so here are the people who hated Black power and said it, didn't believe in Black power and said it. And then they became the ones that were sponsored by the rulers of this country and the world. And they are the ones who they put forth in these political places, in government seats, et cetera, like the John Muhammad. John's a traitor. He's a traitor. I like Bosley. He's a traitor who works against the African people. I want to just say this. So this is what happened. So now what the party has done is to resurrect our movement from that place that they thought they had taken from us, the ability to speak to our own interests, to raise up the interests of the African working class, poor people who are the majority of us, people who like us in so many different ways. They kill our leaders, they destroyed our organization, and they raised these guys up as the new leaders of our people. But they failed. The African People's Socialist Party, even as they was killing off everybody we were building, and what we see now is a consequence of the struggle that we've been involved in all these years, bringing the African population, the working class, up back into political life, and not allowing the rulers of this country to use the electoral process simply against us. So you've had the African petty bourgeoisie that's had a monopoly in this electoral process, because massive Black people said, well, I'm gonna vote for, and nothing to vote for, because after they killed Malcolm, after they killed Panthers, after they jailed so many of us, the only thing we had was the Democratic Party. And the Democratic Party has never been a revolutionary party. And it's betrayed us on every instance. So Black people became disenchanted and wouldn't vote that much. And so the electoral process has been something controlled by a minority of forces, of activists, if you will, in our communities that have that's lined up with white power for the most part. That's not everybody. I mean, you got people like Charles Barron, you got people like Jesse Todd, who represent like, a real breath of fresh air when it comes to the electoral process. But generally speaking, that's what happened to us. And that's why what you've done and are doing is so very important. And we've shattered this monopoly on the electoral process that was held by the African petty bourgeoisie. It's smashed. I don't care what the outcome of today is in terms of how many votes, who got how many votes, because we knew we were up against a racket in the first place. We knew like the Democratic Party machine dominated the whole situation. We also knew that so many African people were trapped in terms of their own imagination because of what we've been taught we can do and why we have to respect this person. And we've been dumbed down so that we don't even look at what the critical issues are. Whether this person, daddy was all right, They were our friends and things like that. And so we haven't been able to get in touch with the interests of the people until now. That's what Comrade Ticharwa Masimba, that's what Comrade Kalambayi has brought into this electoral arena. And in St. Louis, that's not a small thing, because St. Louis has been the headquarters for a very long time of the oppression of Black people, not just in St. Louis. I mean, Africans came from Mississippi and all those other places that started running from terror into St. Louis, where they ran into another kind of terror, another kind of white oppression. That's dominating our life, that sucks out our resources. Don't call you nigger, call you Mr. Nigger. And then put us in these horrible circumstances where we can't make a living. St. Louis is where most of the zoning laws that have been created that we're fighting against. You got TIF, you've got all of these kinds of programs of the tax abatements that go to the corporations at the expense of the African poor. Look south of Delmar, that's no accident, that's planned. And the thing that makes it so sinister is that we have people from our own community who look just like us, who help to plan it, who participate in carrying out this task because they know. I've known stupid people who follow the white ruling class, who work against our community out of stupidity. But that's not true of Basilis. That's not true of John Muhammad. They are willing participants in looting. They work with white power consciously, and they are persons who would actually maintain the status of our people, where you have the horizontal violence, people killing each other over resources they can't get. They would deny our ability to actually create economic development if they could, that would bring the people not only into political life, but have people being able to feed, clothe, and house themselves. They do that consciously. They are the ones who would bring Paul McKees and people like that and give them all kinds of resources. I mean, it's incredible, and work against us. They're the ones who are sleeping, you know, like with the white ruling class and on one hand and denouncing us. So this has been an incredible struggle, incredible victory that we've achieved, that we brought here. I want to express appreciation also for the fact that what we're doing is forging a whole new set of political relationships in St. Louis. It's important that we've now established this relationship with the Green Party. It's important that Comrade Zaki Baruti and the Universal African Peoples Organization were able to come out and support Comrade Kalambayi. It's important that the Young Dems had the ability to unite with this progressive trajectory that we have been responsible for and are responsible for. That won't end today. We're still fighting for public policy. And the electoral process is just one of the means by which we fight for public policy that will liberate our people and take us to freedom. And as we are building a greater group of people, a greater unity among people who can participate with that. That's a whole new situation in St. Louis. It'll never, ever, ever be the same again as a consequence of the incredible work that's been done by these candidates and by all of you, everybody who is in this meeting, who played just an incredible role here. So I just want to say that. Now, I want to tell you not to be surprised if you see sectors of the African petty bourgeoisie, elected officials, who will begin to steal and try to implement some kind of watered down version of our platform. Because they know that's where the future is. We represent the future, and they're trying to keep the future from happening, but they will still steal those elements of the future if they can. They would allow them to hang on to power by trying to trick and fool the people that they represent the best interests of the people, such as our candidate and our party. And it's not a matter even of the party supporting these candidates. These candidates are the party. And I think it's really important to say that these candidates are the party. When they opened their mouth, they were expressing African internationalists, African People's Socialist Party, Uhuru movement, platform program. They are the party. They are the Uhuru movement. So it's not a matter of supporting them any more than it's a matter of supporting ourselves. So I just want to thank you, comrades, and what an incredibly powerful and courageous task you've taken on. And I know the courage that's associated. I mean, I know your relatives, some of them. I know you have, in some instances, you're going up against some of your relatives and how they see the world. And I know you have to go up against certain assumptions about what you ought to be able to do and shouldn't be able to do as a woman. And as not a big time, fancy, educated woman, not somebody who's connected to the system. Some people never even participated in electoral politics at all until this came along. Didn't even know who the damn alderpersons were, what all the people do. The working class has now actually entered into this struggle. It's over. And I'm not a hunter, but I've been told by people who do hunt that you can actually shoot a running deer in the heart, and that deer will run for another 50 yards before it dies. And what has just transpired here in St. Louis right now by these candidates, by this movement, by people who are in this room and where you are located at a Quabba Hall in St. Louis, and in this Zoom meeting, we have fired the shot that has hit this running animal in the heart. And it's just a matter of time before it falls dead. And of course, we will do everything we can, even as it's running along, to trip it up, to hasten its death, because the people can only have freedom and only have emancipation and only have a decent life once this social system is out of our lives. So thank you so much, comrades. Uhuru, we are winning, we are winning, we are winning. Uhuru.
Uhuru, we are winning.
Uhuru, Chairman Omali Yeshitela, we are winning. And now we gotta make sure we copyright the deer speech because that's a new one. Uhuru, what a historic night. And again, thank you. Want to salute that presentation, Chairman. And again, salute your leadership over this process, and seeing the vision for Black Power to be able to infiltrate the electoral arena, which you've laid out, and it's been said before, this has been an area where that's been dominated by, the petty bourgeoisie, and, has pushed the African working class purposefully out of this process. And with your leadership and, the strategy and organization, we've been able to bring the people into this process, and we don't give them any room to hide. We don't give them any space to breathe. And we, challenge them on every single corner to be able to everything. We take everything. And this, again, this strategy is incredible, and we can see the evidence of that.
But
so thank you.
Director Akili, I just wanted to make this, if I may, because I want to say your presence, the presence of Comrade Nzei, of Kalambayi, of Deputy Chair Ona Zene Yeshitela, is evidence of even more involvement by the African working class. Because particularly in St. Louis, where there's this whole history of women, a disdain of a sort for women's leadership. And that's true in so many places where we live under colonial domination. And this amazing, what we've seen and what we are witnessing right now is the amazing leadership of African women that you represent, that Nzei represent. And then that, of course, Comrade Deputy Chair Ona Zene Yeshitela and Kalambayi represent. This is just marvelous. This is magnificent. And this is part of what we mean about the genie being out of the bottle now. There's no way to put this genie back in the bottle. The African working class is being liberated, as a consequence of the kind of work we're doing. And also want to acknowledge the significance of the relationship between Comrade Ticharwa and Nzei. the what do we call a Weifinger? I really want to say that because African people, we do need examples of the kind of love that can happen and can exist based on principles between African men and women, that it can be a principled love, that it can be about struggle, not just, we know that the best love poem that can be written by a slave to another slave is something that shows us how to get free. And so we see those two lovers engaged in that process. And I also want to say the same thing about Deputy Chair Onizene Yeshitela, who, this whole issue of women's leadership, being able to reveal itself with such potency, helps us to really deal with this question of love and the necessity for that, and helping African men and women be able to come together, to be able to know each other in honesty. And without the kind of garbage and lies and things like that the colonizer teaches us to tell to each other, to hold up some kind of false notion of what a man is supposed to be, what a woman is supposed to be. That is contradictory to our ability to be able to love each other and to share with each other the way it should happen. So I just want to say that, Comrade Akili. I know I've over talked it, but I just felt like it was really important to say that's who we are. We're the African People's Socialist Party. And I think it's important to make that statement. So Uhuru, Comrade.
Uhuru, absolutely, Chairman. Again, thank you for that presentation and for that, additional contribution, and recognizing the significance of, of everything that the party is doing through this process, including, raising up the leadership and the practical evidence of the leadership of African women in this process. And two, the kinds of examples that we're setting, for the whole world with the leadership of African women, between, the love between Ticharwa and Comrade Nze, all of these things being tackled with this one, this one movement. We got two candidates, one movement, and this is, being accomplished. So thank you again, Chairman.
Uhuru.
And Uhuru. So we're going to continue this night. We've got a couple more presentations for you guys and a cultural performance for you guys. So thank you all for sticking with us and celebrating this amazing, victorious night with us. And right now, I just said that, this whole theme of this party tonight is two candidates, one movement. And that's because the real victory is in our ability to create a social movement right there on the grounds in the heart of the African working class community in Northside St. Louis. And, the participation of the people have been, the primary, thing that has been able to keep these campaigns, to make them viable, because of the support of the people, seeing their interests recognized with the platforms that these comrades are running on, and, them contributing to the overall success of this campaign. The people are everything. And with that being said, we do have, a couple of community representatives in St. Louis who are to be making statements this evening. And the first is Kay Chris. Is Kay Chris in the house in St. Louis? I can't see them if they are.
Kay is this incredible brother who rented the space, who made the space for Comrade Kalambayi's office available, and who, as a consequence of that, ran into the dirty tricks of the Bosley clique, mafia, and who shut them down for a while. Are you there, Kay? Oh. But yeah, that was courageous, and he said he did this notwithstanding what he knew it meant in terms of a threat by the Bosley, who actually told him on more than one occasion that you don't have to have this problem if you get rid of this Kalambayi and her presence.
Yeah, Uhuru, no, Kay is not. He's not here. He's not on. He wasn't able to make it. So he's not here, but like Chairman was saying, we met Kay when we were dropping the first Black St. Louis speak? My camera's on. I'm unmuted.
It's just loud.
We can hear you.
Oh, okay. Tim was speaking. I'm sorry. So yeah, we met Kay when we dropped the first broadsheet. He was a business owner, and I told him about the free newspaper that we had created, and he was very, very excited about it, the movement and the Black Power Blueprint and what that meant for the community. And he instantly said, "Have you ever thought about running for office?" To me, and at that time, I was, we wasn't talking about running for office. And I was like, well, that's something that needs to happen. He was like, yeah, definitely in this ward. And he started to tell me about all the attacks that he had been under with Brandon Bosley and his father, this empire, and how the business owner had came here as a sharecropper in 1972, making, $1 a day and, working on cars and buying this piece of property. And then Kay and other African men, he have gave them the skill to be to work on cars as well. And it's right in the community where it's very hard to find a mechanic shop, in our own community. And so this is something that the community really appreciate, being able to go to a mechanic right there in their shop that understand their economic, they budget and things like that, and work with you and do very, very good work. I believe even Chimaranga had to use Kay as a mechanic and could testify to their work. And so Kay, when we told him we were running, I introduced Chimaranga to him. And, Kay said, hey, whatever I can do, I'm willing to do. And he stayed true to that. And he allowed us a space in his office where 6 police officers had came to our office to shut our office down because they said that we had been selling liquor out of the office or something like that. And Kay business had suffered, weeks, but he refused to take the banner down. Even the committee man had told him that. Even the committee man had, told him that if you take that sign down, then they will leave you alone. And he said, I'm going to support her, and I don't care what they do, I'm gonna fight them. And that's what he did. And that's where that sign still is on that property right there on North Grand at 301111. So, Kay's not here, but I really want to salute and appreciate Kay and the whole mechanic shop and all the workers there that have been so helpful part of this campaign. Uhuru.
Uhuru, thank you so much, Comrade Kalambayi, for being able to, just explain the significance of, this community member, this business owner who, took, the stance, a courageous stance on behalf of his community by supporting this incredible campaign. And we too want to salute Kay Chris for that courageous stance, and just say that we support you, Comrade Kay Chris. And we also have another statement from a community member, Sheila Pargo, who's a community member of the 21st Ward. And let's see. Yep, I think we have her on.
Yes, I am here. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Uhuru. I love the way that flows off my tongue. So I am really honored that Ticharwa asked me to do this. I was trying to turn on my video, at least you all can see me.
We want to see you, Sheila.
I know, I'm trying to, it doesn't want to show me. Hide self view. It doesn't want to let me show you all what I look like. Here's a camera. Okay, I'm sorry, you all. I can't seem to click on the video. Hold on, let me try at the bottom. I'm sorry, sir. Let me try this. Is that better?
And you made it.
Yes. Okay. As I say, I'm honored to do this. I am a resident of the 21st Ward. I've been here. Oh, let's see. My parents, who were transplants from Arkansas, moved here in St. Louis in 1963. The house I'm in now was actually the first house my parents bought in 1967. In 1973, I actually got married and moved out of the community. But I did return back into this house in 2012. I was born and raised right here in North St. Louis City. And this is where I experienced the joys of living in a thriving community with good neighbors, schools, homes, and businesses. This also is where I experienced the pain of watching all of that disappear right before my eyes. I wanted to see this decades long of deterioration vanish. I wanted it so much that I began meeting with my local elected officials, community organizations, and a developer who had amassed large tracts of property located in the North Side. There was nothing of any significance being presented to the community around this issue. I met the developer, Paul McKee, who gave me some hope through his vision of, quote, bringing development and stability on a large scale to the North St. Louis City community that was intentionally denied resources and earmarked for demise. Now, several years later, the large-scale development has not occurred, and only the developer has benefited from tax incentives given to him from City Hall. This is not justice or equity. As a woman of faith, I prayed for divine intervention. I knew it would take a large influx of love and resources to reverse this trend. I keep losing my space here. Lo and behold, here comes Ticharwa Masimba. I watched the Uhuru house come up and learned Ticharwa was the catalyst for its development. The house is located 2 blocks from where I live. We met when I rented the Uhuru house to host a repast for a longtime resident and drug user that was found dead in the neighborhood from an overdose. Ticharwa connected with me around his passion for economic development when I told him I was an entrepreneur with a home-based fitness consulting business. He allowed me to teach a class at the Uhuru house for no charge. Since our initial connection, Ticharwa has shown me his courage and commitment to live through our 4 core human values of love, connection, contribution, and power. He has contributed greatly to this community by loving himself enough to share his passion for our Blackness and build trusting and respectful relationships. He also cares enough to call out and expose those decisions and decision makers that are continuing to drain resources from the North Side. This is the power and influence we need on the Board of Aldermen. You have my support, Ticharwa, as you well know. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Sister Sheila.
Yes. Uhuru.
Oh.
You know, you got me seriously considering this African People's Socialist Party.
We considered you a long time ago. Our whole program was born with you in consideration.
I thought. I don't know what, and I believe that. Thank you so much.
Uhuru, Sister Sheila, well, I mean, those words were incredibly profound, and we really appreciate your contribution to this campaign, your support of these candidates, and, you know, being able to talk about your experience in this story and in the context of the fight that we're engaged in today. And I just thought that was extremely powerful. And I'm sure the rest of the people who are in attendance could attest to having felt that the same exact way. So thank you so much for your contribution to this incredible campaign, this movement, and the many more contributions that you will continue to make. And for all those like Sister Sheila on the call who's considering the apspuhuru.org is where you want to go ahead and get that application in process.
All righty.
True. All right. So, wow, this has been, like I said, very incredible night. These campaigns, these candidates, I wish I was in St. Louis right now. I am in my home in St. Petersburg, Florida, but I just want to, you know, but the energy is palpable. I can feel it all the way from where I am. And I'm just very extremely honored to be able to celebrate this night with all of you, whether we're virtual or we're in person. And we're going to now get to the closing of our program, but we have to hear first from our candidates again before we close out this program with our freedom song with a comrade I'll introduce in just a moment. So for the last time tonight, we are going to bring up our alderwoman for Ward 3 and our alderman for Ward 21, Uhuru, comrades Herdosia, Kalambayi, Bentum, and Ticharwa, Masimba. Uhuru.
Yeah, Uhuru. Yeah, Uhuru. This has been, again, and it's not over, but this has been an absolute and incredible fight. And we got some bruises on the way, you know, but as you said, Director Kile, we left no room for them to get away. You know, we call them out every chance that we get. And I see we have the thing is that so this system is a factory, you know, and it reproduces this process by which our communities, everything in our communities are stolen from us. That's a regular part of the, you know, entire configuration of even the world economy. And it happens in North St. Louis, which has a bloody colonial history of killing indigenous people, making war on indigenous people, and terrorizing African people. And St. Louis was truly the gateway to Western imperialism, westward colonialism. And even this NGA facility that took 1,000 acres of land from Black people in North St. Louis and pushed out 100 homes, you know, has its origins as a mapping agency for Lewis and Clark, the colonizers who came here needing to map out territory that they would slaughter the indigenous people to take. And this is the bloody history of St. Louis. It has not stopped. And these politicians are managers. They are managers for an economy controlled by the white ruling class. And what they do is they sell our people out. They make them promises every day that they can bring development. Like we've been taught, you know, they're gonna bring democracy to us, bring Christianity to us. They sell us on that, and they work for these developers. And what they do in order to facilitate these developers being able to loot our communities. So in some cases, just so the politician can say he did something, what they do is they make war on our communities. So it's not an accident that we see spy planes being attempted to be dispatched over the Black community that will record our movements for up to 18 hours a day. It's not an accident that 50 to 60% of the entire police budget, you know, goes toward police. They have to make war on our community to facilitate this extraction process that they act as managers for. And we see it happening, and it's brutal, it's bloody, and the poorest, most oppressed sector of the Black community is made to pay for that, you know. And we see dilapidated houses. We see our mothers and fathers, in some cases, brothers and sisters addicted to drugs. We see a whole drug economy, you know, and we see prison, where right now Black people in the St. Louis so-called Justice Center are being starved of food. They're being denied clothing for the winter, just horrible treatment to help this process, help facilitate this whole process of taking everything Black people create. And we have had people who have united with a different kind of way of life, a different platform. And we have had them show up, you know, people, everyday workers who have never been involved in politics, making phone calls every single day. Sister Sheila, constantly phone banking every single day, sharing everything they can on social media. 3 and 4 children in some cases, you know, participating in this movement because they want to see a different future. We have had donors donate month after month after month after month. Some people just buy merchandise over and over and over again just to bring support to this community. And I just say this is an incredible campaign. We have to continue to take space, continue to fight for the interests of Black people and the most oppressed sector of Black people so that we can be free one day. And that is ultimately what we understand these platforms are here for. They're really that, a platform. We want to win these elections, but we understand that our primary goal is to win the people and to arm the people with an ability to even understand politically, to be able to criticize the status quo. We want to arm them with organization. That's what the Uhuru movement has brought to this process. I see it. It is the most tangible, beautiful thing that you can do for people, is to give them the ability to fight for their freedom. You know, so I just again want to thank everybody and say that we have to continue this process. We can't stop today, but it's been a beautiful journey and we should recognize the significance of it. All right.
Uhuru.
Uhuru.
Uhuru, Ticharwa, Uhuru. I just really appreciate this, and I couldn't have a better is it a running mate or a teammate than Ticharwa Masimba. I think we both learned a lot from each other. We met all the time, like before we met, you know, to just pick each other brains and know exactly how we come in. And that was very helpful. So I just really want to salute Ticharwa for just being, you know, a real cadre force. And even before this race started, you know, just when Ticharwa came into this work, the work changed. And I appreciate you, comrade. And I consider it an honor to call myself your comrade. And I just want to salute and appreciate and tell everybody that we did incredible work across the world. On the grounds in St. Louis, the 3rd Ward and the 21st Ward, we had been doing work in St. Louis, from the Black grand jury to Black community control of the police conference, and, you know, EPDM having its headquarters right here in St. Louis, to the Black Power Blueprint, to the One Africa, One Nation Marketplace, to our fourplex. You see this list? These people that we're running against don't have this kind of resume. This resume speaks to who we are as a movement. This is an incredible movement. And I consider it an honor to call myself a member of the Uhuru movement of the African People's Socialist Party. I hold my head up proud and chest out, and no one can ever take that away from me, that I'm under the leadership of Chairman Omali Yeshitela, this brave warrior that lived through the 60s, like actually lived through the 60s, that I don't have to just say, well, if Malcolm X was still alive, I would have did this. I can live it right now because I'm under the leadership of Chairman Omali Yeshitela, you know. And so, yes, man, I mean, that's incredible in itself, because I don't know how many times I don't sit at tables or somewhere and people say, well, if I was living with Harriet Tubman, I wouldn't been no house nigga, I would have did this. And most of them people that saying it, they house niggas right now. That's what they are. I just got to call it what it is. That's exactly what they are. But, you know, what we gave the people, even the people that voted wrong, you know, that voted for the status quo, we gave them the ability to be able to see these candidates in a way that they never seen them before. And now, I mean, once you see, you can't take it away. Once the mud is moved from your eyes, regardless if you like what you see or not, you see it. And now they can see. Now they can see, and we are going to continue to work because we was working before that. You know what I'm saying? We wasn't doing this for no job. As Deputy Chair said, we was not doing this because we wanted to associate our name as Alderperson and, you know, be in an end clique. You know what I'm saying? I want to destroy that clique, not be in it. You know what I'm saying? You know, and what we have armed the people to teach. We have gave them the arms to be able to see. And we're going to continue to do economic development. We're going to continue to build the International People Democratic Uhuru movement on the grounds in St. Louis fiercely in a deep, deep way, because now I understand something about, you know, the terrain. And so now that I am equipped myself and I have been made change through this process, my organizing game is just gonna be deep and profound. So we're gonna continue to do the work, you know what I'm saying? And we're gonna give them hell. So if they think they just gonna win, you know, they're gonna take a seat and then no, we still in the room, bro. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We still in the room, bro. And we're taking the streets with us. We're bringing the people right to the board of chambers, and we're gonna be sitting there on your day. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna continue to be holding your feet to the fire. You know what I'm saying? And you're gonna have to carry out our platform, because that's what the people said they won't. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I just really appreciate this process. This was a great process. This is exactly what Black Power looks like. Yes. You know what I'm saying? This is what Black Power looks like. And, you know, I have no regrets. You know what I'm saying? I have no regrets. And this is only round one. The numbers all came in for me, right? But this is round one. This is round one. We got another round to go. You know what I'm saying? And if you a boxer, if you box and you get scared from that first round, you know what I'm saying? You have to be able to take a punch. You know what I'm saying? So if we took a punch, then we go back. You know what I'm saying? Coach, get you ready, fix your face up and stuff. You know what I'm saying? And you get back in the ring and you swing harder. That's what we do. So we fighting for Black Power. We never give up. Chairman gave me the right name. My name is Kalambayi. That means brave, never give up. Mofi me, the one that stayed. Antoinette means unity with the people, and that's what I plan to be. So I appreciate this opportunity to be the people's candidate. And I'm going to continue to fight, knock these doors, make more phone calls, and give them hell. We ain't going nowhere. This stuff, fight that. Yeah. You're on mute, comrade.
Uhuru, I'm done. I'm just saying, I'm looking at the chairman saying he got to be sitting back saying, look what I created, you know.
Uhuru, well, I mean, whoo, man, I'm like almost moved to tears, y'all, because slide right off the cheekbone, you know, we going right back in there. So Uhuru, comrades, again, what incredible candidates. I mean, we couldn't have had anybody better to be able to represent, our movement out there in St. Louis. And you guys carried that campaign. You wore it on your shoulders and you took it to where it needed to go. And as we've said throughout this whole night, St. Louis is definitely changed. I know everybody in that room has changed. These candidates have changed. And, it's really profound. So congratulations, comrades, and salute to this party, the Uhuru movement, and to all of you. This is all of our victory. It's all of ours to claim. So Uhuru. So we are going to close out this program with a dynamic freedom song. So wherever you are right now, on mute, of course, wherever you are, you can help sing along in this song. If you don't know the lyrics, if you've never heard it before, you can catch on pretty quickly. So it's my honor now to introduce Comrade Ikenge Maele, who is the Chief of Staff for the Office of the Chairman, Omali Yeshitela, to close us out with a freedom song. Uhuru, Comrade Ikenge.
Uhuru, salute to my comrades. Everybody get up on your feet in St. Louis. I can see you. I'm gonna start with a little clap. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gentrification. Turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let gentrification turn me around. I'm gonna keep on talking, keep on fighting. I'm gonna build a brand new world. Ain't gonna let no spy station turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let no spy station turn me around. I'm gonna keep on talking, keep on fighting. Gonna build a brand new world. Said, don't you let nobody turn you around, turn you around, turn you around. Say, don't you let nobody turn you around. You gotta keep on talking, gotta keep on fighting. We're gonna build a brand new world. Everybody, hey, don't you let nobody turn you around, turn you around, turn you around. Say, don't you let nobody turn you around. You gotta keep on talking, keep on fighting, gotta keep on talking, gotta keep on fighting, gonna keep on talking, keep on fighting. We're gonna build a brand new world. Uhuru! Salute to my comrades. Uhuru! We are winning. Black is back. Revolutionary time. Revolutionary solutions.
Revolutionary Uhuru, Uhuru, Comrade Kinge, Mayele, Uhuru, again, salute to our leadership, Chairman Omali Yeshitela. Salute to these amazing comrades, our candidates, Kalambayi, Herdosia, Kalambayi, Bentum, and comrades Ticharwa, Masimba, Uhuru, St. Louis, the show me state. Y'all showed them. Uhuru, Uhuru, comrades. And I do want to plug again, if you are interested in joining this fight, joining the African Revolution, wherever you are located, join apspuhuru.org, sign up, fill out our contact form, because this struggle is not over and you can be a part of it no matter where you're located. And I know that we're going to, be pushing out information soon to let people know how we can be supporting this comrade in the general election in St. Louis. So just thank you so much for all who came tonight, whether you're in the building, whether you are virtual, whether you're tuning in on Facebook or YouTube. I don't know how the petty bourgeoisie, does their little celebrations. I don't even know what they could even say to each other after they got their butts whooped like this in such a way. But, we coming out here, we are smiling, we are enjoying ourselves, and, we're taking this victory, with us through and through. So thank you, comrades, for spending this time with us. Revolutionary times, revolutionary solutions. Black is back. Goddamn, Black is back.